All my life I've been told such confusing things. The messages are tiny cuts that almost don't sting. Did you drink too much? Did you lead him on? Didn't you scream? It was shocking that he didn't stop. And my desperate whispers do haunt my dreams. I begged and pleaded, though. I bargained, but then complied. Grateful for the reprieve of him inside. Terrified of the choice I'd have to make if he finished there. It's crazy, the instincts that protect, even in despair. Thinking so far ahead in the midst of the horror, self-preservation and a deal prevented more. Is it still rape? If I let him finish in my mouth? Duress. It must have been confusing for him that my no turned to a yes. What confusing messages for all of us. Men don't even understand why we even make a fuss. They can't help it, right? Men like a fight. Boys will be boys. So we can't even see a world where girls get autonomy. Was he confused? Because I kissed him first. A future boyfriend in my mind, I couldn't have imagined the worst. But the messages I must have given him in that kiss. He heard the no's after, though. They couldn't have been missed. His weight holding me down, my clothes ripped, my body and soul stripped. But if I had been sober, I wouldn't have been raped. Another message repeated on the videotape that plays in my mind that I wish I could rewind. The mistakes I made and missed all of the signs. It's my fault. That's what the messages say, because I definitely drank too much that day. It was New Year's Eve and it was my friend's party. I thought it was safe. It didn't feel foolhardy. Foolhardy is our father's generation's word. They declared these rules that everyone heard. Their toxic messages to girls and boys, from purity culture to gendered toys. Nonsense standards designed only to bind the voices and choices of us. For how can they expect to control their lust if we are strong, if they see our skin, if we decide, if we deny the pleasure they seek? We don't get to defy if they demand our bodies. Our creation was for them, from the rib of man after all, and then we took the blame for man's great fall. These toxic stories that little girls hear, they keep us all trapped, living with fear. Our fathers told us these things, these messages, these lies. Then they mute our screams by averting their eyes from our stories, from our truths. They defend the men. Men's futures protected while women descend into despair, left to repair our gaping wounds. Those tiny cuts that almost didn't sting, ripped open, transformed by the actions of these men. Not with horns, just men who grew up being told the same stories of us, and that they can't possibly control their lust. We are weaker, our value dismissed. Are these the things he remembered when we kissed? These messages, girls are taught they are true, and these messages, my rapist heard them too.